Hi there and welcome back aboard. I'm your host, the Lazy Millionaire, and today I have another book summary just for you. We all know if we want to achieve success, we have to put some work in, but it's often difficult to make time to get down to some really focused, deep work. Lucky for us, one author has written a book that tells us how to do it, and here's the 10-minute rundown. The name of the book is Deep Work: Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World, and it's written by Cal Newport, an MIT graduate and a Georgetown professor. He believes that deep work allowed him to double his output and write the book, while raising his family and keeping his full-time job at university. I promise you Cal didn't have 8 arms or 10 clones. He did it all through the system of deep work that he developed. So why is deep work valuable? Okay, here comes the science bit. Those of a non-scientific disposition might want to pour themselves a large glass of wine now, but I promise to take it easy. Neuroscientists have discovered that intense, focused periods of work cause a substance called myelin to form in certain parts of the brain. It's a fatty tissue that allows neurons to fire much faster and more effectively. You could think of it as a natural stimulant for the brain, or imagine it as putting your brain into Usain Bolt mode. You've just heard the gun. Every neuron is firing efficiently and racing you towards the finish line ahead of the rest of the field. With focused sessions of deep work, free from distractions, you're at your peak productivity. And the free from distractions part is important. It's actually been proven that if you're working hard on a problem and then get distracted by something, your productivity drops off when you go back to the problem again. This is known as the cost of context switching. And this is what makes deep work so valuable, especially in today's society, which rewards people who can rise to the top. You only have to look at Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates to see this. But the good news is, you don't need to be Zuck or Bill to take advantage of deep work. And this is because most people only ever end up doing shallow work. With open plan offices, non-stop meetings, expectations that you reply to emails or Slack messages within a few minutes, and social media, there are more distractions than ever in the workplace. Your brain will naturally want to follow the principle of least resistance, and do the easy tasks, like responding to colleagues by email. You might even feel very busy while you're at work, but remember this: being busy does not mean you're being productive. In fact, shallow work is often the default, and it's the complete opposite of deep work. If deep work is turning off your phone, getting into the zone, and maybe blazing out some architectural plans with no distractions, shallow work would be sitting down at your computer, checking what meetings you've got coming up, then whipping out your phone to fire off a couple of emails before browsing Reddit to see what's going on in the world. We can pretty much summarize the whole of the book with the deep work hypothesis. The ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare. At exactly the same time, it is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy. As a consequence, the few who cultivate this skill and then make it the core of their working life will thrive. So let's see how we can implement deep work in our lives. And there's 4 rules for us. Rule 1. Work deeply. The idea of deep work is to put yourself into a vacuum. Not a literal one, mind you, just one that's free from distractions, and use this to achieve higher levels of productivity and success through focus. Let's say you're trying to write a children's book. You hope it will be the best thing since Harry Potter. Assuming you haven't just taken the same character and called him Barry Proctor, you really feel this could be a huge bestseller. But there's just one problem, and it's a big one. You can't find the free time you need to actually write it. You dream about taking a week off, leaving all your distractions behind, and checking into a hotel. How amazing would it be to have a whole week to yourself to really crack on with the writing project? Lots of successful people have done it like this. J.K. Rowling is just one example. And in fact, this is just one way you can schedule your deep work. But you don't have to lock yourself away like a monk to get into the zone. You could do short bursts of a few days or weeks where you focus on deep work, or you could schedule your deep work for specific periods each day, such as 9 AM to 12 PM, where you work uninterrupted. Or you could spontaneously switch into deep work mode, as if you had a 3-page essay due today and had been out partying the entire night before. There are a number of different ways you can schedule deep work sessions, and at the end of this summary, I'll reveal the most effective way I've ever found to schedule mine. In fact, it was through this technique that I went from zero prior knowledge, learnt to code, and launched my first profitable business, all in just 1 month. Up until this point, we've only really discussed how great deep work is. But realistically, you're not going to be able to turn yourself into some kind of no-fun, non-stop deep work machine. Your brain can probably only handle 1 to 2 hours of deep work initially, before it needs a break. And besides, at some point, you'll need to reply to your emails, book your flights home, clear your computer desktop, and eat breakfast. Otherwise, you'll end up like me, stuck abroad, visa expired, desktop background no longer visible, and hungry. And not the good, hungry for success kind of hunger. The 4 p.m. haven't had breakfast yet kind of hunger. Which leads to rule 2, embrace boredom. Basically, this means make time to schedule your distractions. Allocate specific times in your day or week to firstly, do your shallow work, and secondly, to watch videos of dogs surfing. This helps your deep work to be uninterrupted. You should also have a shutdown ritual at the end of the day. If it helps, you could imagine that you're a futuristic robot unplugging yourself for the night. It's recommended that you write down all the tasks you haven't got round to doing, so you can start afresh in the morning. This is soothing for your brain, because by writing things down, you're releasing your brain from having to remember them. So you'll be free from the nagging thoughts that keep you awake at night and spoil the next day's deep work session. Also, when you do shut down, make sure you turn off all work notifications too. You need some downtime in order to run efficiently the next day. Rule 3. Quit social media. Now, nobody is saying you should go crazy and quit YouTube. And nobody is banning you from subscribing to the Lazy Millionaire channel. But be thoughtful with your social media. If you're not getting a benefit from it, then give it up. LinkedIn is probably valuable for your work, and Instagram is great for keeping up with your friends and seeing where they are in the world. But is it really beneficial to spend hours endlessly scrolling through vacuous gym selfies of strangers? I already spend very little time on social media anyway. I'm the kind of sad person whose most used app is the stopwatch. But my wife loves Instagram and finds it addictive, so she has set limits on her iPhone of a total of 1.5 hours per day of social media. If you want to do this too, you can find it in the iPhone settings under screen time. But you could also run a social media test. Quit everything, go cold turkey. No Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever for 30 days. And don't tell anyone you're doing it. At the end of the 30 days, ask yourself these 2 questions. 1. Would my life have been notably better if I had been able to use these services? 2. Did people care that I stopped? If the answer is no to both of these questions, then quit the services forever. Rule 4. Drain the shallows. Get in the habit of scheduling every hour of your day. Batch the shallow work tasks so you can do them in chunks, and so they don't distract from the productive time allocated to deep work. You should even schedule your leisure time. For example, from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m, I'm going to practice my tiddlywink skills. Treat your time with respect. Don't just thoughtlessly scroll Instagram. Here's a quick recap of what we've covered. Deep work is valuable. Because of the cost of context switching, focused work without distractions is when you're most productive. Deep work is rare, especially in today's society where distractions are everywhere, so remember that being busy does not mean you're being productive. And we covered the 4 rules for deep work. Number 1, work deeply. Remove all distractions and schedule your deep work. Maybe even set an artificial deadline. Number 2, embrace boredom. By scheduling time for your distractions and having a shutdown ritual at the end of the day. Number 3, quit social media, but only things that don't provide you value. And number 4 was drain the shallows, by batching all of your tasks like answering emails into specific slots in your day. Earlier in the video, I promised to reveal the most effective deep work method I've ever found. It helped me learn to code and launch my first profitable business, all in 1 month. This method was to buy myself a physical stopwatch and set myself a rule. I was only allowed to start the stopwatch if I was 100% focused on writing code. If I became distracted or wanted a break, then I would have to stop the stopwatch. and each day I'd aim for a minimum of 5 hours of deep work, which doesn't sound like a lot, but try it for yourself. It's actually not that easy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check links in the description for the full book and audiobook, and I'll see you in the next video.